So, did you know Nigeria has a bill that makes it a criminal act for you to pay for the release of your relative or friend from their abductors? Let's break this down. Did you know that Nigeria has a bill that makes it a criminal act for you to pay for the release of a friend or relative from their abductors? This bill was passed in April 2022 by the Nigerian Senate to amend the Terrorism Prevention Act. It states that paying to release a kidnapped victim constitutes a felony, punishable by a minimum of 15 years in prison upon conviction. It also made the crime of abduction punishable by death in cases where victims die. The bill was passed in a bid to contain and discourage kidnappings by cutting off a significant source of funding for criminal groups, which is ransom payment. However, it places victims' families in a dire dilemma: risk never seeing their loved ones again, or face legal consequences for attempting to secure their release. For many years, Nigeria has faced a security crisis across its 6 geopolitical regions, with a notable surge in kidnapping in recent years in the northwest and northeast of the country. Boko Haram, terrorists, criminal gangs, sea piracy, and armed separatist agitation have disturbed the security of the country, with most groups engaging in kidnapping. According to a report, at least 18.3 million in ransom was paid to Nigerian kidnappers between 2011 and 2020. This amount is roughly equivalent to funding the entire 4-year degree program of all 36,000 students at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. From July 2022 to June 2023, there were 582 incidents of kidnapping in the country, resulting in the abduction of 3,620 individuals. The reported ransom demand during these incidents amounted to at least 5 billion naira. Actual ransom payments reached 302 million naira, an amount enough to cover one's daily expenses of 50,000 naira for 16 years and 6 months. However, these figures could be higher due to underreporting. Ransom payments serve as a primary incentive for kidnapping in Nigeria due to the country's weak economy, poor security infrastructure, rising inflation, and high unemployment rates. When innocent people are kidnapped, the instinctual response for many families is to secure their loved ones' release by any means necessary, often including paying a ransom. In some cases, ransom payments have transcended money and involved payments in kind. During the cash crunch in Nigeria, abductees were made to pay ransom in gold, livestock, and bikes, although the aim of the cashless policy was to tame terrorist financing. Ransom payment has not only been ongoing despite the passing of the bill that criminalizes it, it has taken a new dimension: crowdfunding. In January 2024, 6 sisters were kidnapped in Buari, Federal Capital Territory. The news stormed headlines and gained virality on social media, with people donating under the hashtag Nabiha and her sisters. Despite crowdfunding efforts, one of the sisters was killed when the family missed the deadline of paying a ransom of 60 million naira. A former minister in the administration that criminalized ransom payment announced his involvement in organizing the ransom payment for the release of the sisters. In January 2024 only, at least 230 million naira, equivalent to about $252,000, was crowdfunded online. IDPs often crowdfund ransom too. When they go into the forest to fetch firewood, which is often the only way for them to earn a living, they are at risk of kidnapping. With no other option, IDPs rely on collective fundraising, hoping their community will support them or their family in raising money for ransom if they need it to. Crowdfunding ransoms might inadvertently empower kidnappers by showing that their threats are effective, potentially fueling their criminal activities. Kidnappers would typically ask for one form of ransom or the other. So, If paying ransom becomes illegal, what happens to innocent abductees who rely on ransom payment for their release? Security analysts and experts doubt the bill's effectiveness in curbing kidnapping, highlighting the deficiencies in Nigeria's intelligence and security response. The problem has persisted for years. By June 2023, the Nigeria Security Tracker documented 19,366 cases of Nigerians being kidnapped in 2,069 incidents over the past decade. To combat kidnapping effectively, both root causes and consequences must be comprehensively addressed. So far, no one has been arrested for ransom payment since the bill was passed.